Benjamin Franklin said that a penny saved is a penny earned. I understand that Benjamin Franklin was, if you extrapolate his net worth into today's earnings, he was a billionaire. And yet he said that a penny saved is a penny earned.
Hey there, thanks for coming to our channel. Losing $1 million is a big, huge deal. But what's the other side of the story? Listen to this. I was just reading some literature within the Retire Early and FIRE, F-I-R-E, Financial Independence, Retire Early community. And this is by no means an attack on anyone or judgment or anything. It's a conversation about ideas. And here's the idea. The idea is that the writer was saying that they had figured out how they could cut 2 years off of their waiting period as to the date of achieving a FIRE date. A FIRE date is commonly understood within the community as something that you sacrifice and work towards, and then once you reach that date where your finances reach a certain level where you can actually start living the life that you want to live. And the idea here was that they were figured out how to cut 2 years off of that date. And there were two ideas going on. One was cutting two more years off, but the other idea was what would I do once I reach that date? And the funny thing is that at the top of the list was how to earn more somewhat passive or residual type of income. They had figured out that for, let's just pick a figure of $500 a month, if once they reach their FIRE date, they can start working at, or even before reaching the date, they can start working at having a $500 a month income in their own business, somehow in such a way that it was somewhat passive or what have you, and therefore that would be $6,000 a year, and at 3%, they would be able to slice off $200,000 off of the amount of money that they would have to save and put away in investments. So that's the key here. The key was $500 a month or $6,000 a year would slice off $200,000 that, you know, so they wouldn't have to save $200,000 and invest $200,000. For the income therein would have taken 2 additional years. So that's like saying, all right, well, look, the $200,000 that I would have to keep working 2 more years to save and invest would produce $6,000 a year or $500 a month. And if I can figure out how to actually get that $500 a month in other ways, then I can save myself 2 whole years of saving. Now, for other people, it might be 4 years. Other people, it might be 6 years. So it's different for everybody. And so here's the kicker. If you can save 2 years and not have to save $200,000 by figuring out how to make just $500 a month, what would happen if when you went abroad, instead of paying $800 for rent, you were paying $300 for rent? Isn't it the same thing? You should know that we've been abroad 10 years and have never paid more than $300 or $400, and sometimes actually less than that, for 3 and 4 bedroom houses and apartments, furnished and unfurnished, the whole 10 years we've been abroad. So, you know, a lot of times in these circles, people say, and this particular writer was even saying that, hey, frugality comes natural to me, therefore I just don't see where I could save more money. I've got that part covered, you know. So all I got to do now is focus on earning, right? Nothing wrong with that thought, but I'm just saying here that a lot of these foreigners, and one of the idea was that, yeah, I'm going to be, you know, go local as much as I can, and in most cases, people do attempt to do that, but aren't very successful at it. A lot of people are, but a lot of people aren't, just because of their impressions and their just lack of knowledge of local pricing structure, which we do have a membership area for, where we support people that want to be supported and helped, and figure that out in the membership area. So there's not only one way of achieving everything, and I'm just saying that really when you take a look at this just from a simple math standpoint, you got a situation where instead of paying $800 for rent, I'm paying $300 for the same thing or similar. That means I just added $200,000 to my investments that I don't need to have. That's funny, isn't it? And so going further with this thought from a simple math level, for every $500 a month that you can figure out to have on a somewhat passive, because true 100% passive mostly doesn't exist. I know there is some, but it's a very small segment. For the most part, you're going to have to do something, but it's not going to be a 9-to-5 job, okay? That's the whole idea. As long as it doesn't have to be a 9-to-5 job or feel like you're selling your time, for an hourly wage, then it's acceptable. So for every $500, you're saving yourself a $200,000 amount of money that you don't have to slave away for years and years. And so for $1,000, it'd be $400, right? For $2,000, it's $800. For $2,500 a month, it's the equivalent of having $1 million in your investments. So really, guys, I know that everybody's in a different spot in life, and but the bottom line is that you could lose a full $1 million by simply having, and I say simply, it could be challenging to get there, but yet how challenging is for some people having to wait 20 years or 30 years in order to get their investment level, to be able to have that income. So if you can figure out for every $500 a month, it is the equivalent of $200,000 in investments, then at $2,500 you just saved yourself or lost $1 million. So, and the thing about the simple math is this, and you hear things like the simple truth about fire and all that. This is a very simple truth. And, for those that have ears to hear, the offshoot of all this is, as I mentioned, if for every $500 of somewhat residual income equals $200,000, and you can extrapolate the math, if that's the case, how is it not relevant that a lot of the expat crowds that come to live in luxury from really high cost of living areas, that come down to these places and spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month to live, if they're trying to do it off their investments, clearly if they already have the investment, great, but I'm just talking to you, if you're trying to figure this out and make it work for you, really, if you can do what they're doing on $3,000 a month for $1,000, then clearly, and it's not about penny pinching or living a life of austerity. We really, really enjoy our simple living here. We have a pretty decent apartment here for $300. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, mostly furnished apartment. We pretty much do just about everything the other expats do when you listen to their lifestyles, but we seem to be able to do it on like half or a third. So, that right there tells you that you don't even need the $2,500 a month. So, if you can get the $2,500 a month, great, more power to you. But if things come incrementally to you, $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, whatever the case may be, then you have just shaved off at least $1 million of slavery from your life.
This restaurant's been here 10 years that I know of. It was here when we moved here, so.
Yeah.
It's all kinds of foods.
If a penny saved is the same as a penny earned, then we can start realizing that, well, wait a minute, A penny earned by saving is way better than a penny earned by working, because of everything that you have to do and all the associated expenses. And there's people that have written books on this. You know, they called it like the true cost of working. You know, when you subtract the true cost of working, and you think you're making all this money, but when you subtract everything, the true cost, you're actually making less than minimum wage. And so, yeah, a penny saved is way better than a penny earned. That's why I don't get it. What, I mean, you see all these people that are, they're just putting their life aside. You know, they're just delayed gratification and all the austerity that goes along with it, so they can have more money, and yet then they come out to places like this and they overpay on everything. So it just makes no sense, you know, when you really look at it and you analyze it. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. I'm sure somebody sees it. If you see it, leave us a comment.
Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.